Han Huang took a deep breath upon hearing his father's answer. He also felt pressure, but he felt more motivated. Come and kill me. I want to see who can kill me. Han Huang looked at his father and saw him smiling. The pressure in his heart vanished. If his father was not worried about him, what was he worried about? He would be truly invincible in the chaos if he could survive the great Tao immeasurable calamity and laugh until the endless era. He would not let down the name of the primordial fiend celestial. Han Huang stood up and bid farewell. He had waited for millions of years for these words. Hanju looked at his departing figure and sighed secretly. Rat, you don't even know how to greet me. Can't you talk to your father more? Ask me how strong I am now. Not giving me a chance to show off? Then you have to suffer more in the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Hanju snorted. He would definitely delay his arrival if Han Huang was suppressed. Ancestor Han Huang was going to stir up the great Tao immeasurable calamity and would definitely attract countless hatred. He felt that he could help him. After following Hanju for so long, under his influence, Shan Ye's situation was also very high. He was not high and mighty, but he thought from the perspective of all living beings. The great Tao immeasurable calamity looked like a calamity and was a devastating disaster for all living beings, but they had never seen it. This was an unprecedented opportunity. Countless great Tao worlds like the chaos would be born when the endless era arrived. The number of living beings would multiply endlessly. Sacrificing oneself to help the greater one, why not? Even mortals knew how to sacrifice a small number to benefit the majority. Everything focused on the majority. Hanju closed his eyes and said, "We'll see. It's not impossible." Shawnee immediately beamed. One couldn't curse the enemy behind their back in the simulation trial. If the enemy attacked directly, the great Tao of curses would be useless. Hanju began to observe the chaos and the ultimate origin world. Creation Emperor Court, Heavenly Hall. Han Huang told Han Ling his intentions, and Han Ling fell silent. After a long while, Han Ling sighed. Must that be the case? Han Huang smiled. I have to. Instead of giving the advantage to others, why don't I give it to you? I'll tell you in advance. This way, you can lessen the burden. Han Ling frowned. What will you do if I stand on the same side as all living beings? Ha ha ha. Han Huang laughed loudly. Fourth sister, do! You think I'll die? Impossible. With that, he turned around and left. He suddenly stopped in his tracks and said, Don't tell Han Yi about this. I need this kid to face me with all his might. Han Ling looked at Han Huang's departing figure with flickering eyes. That day, Han Ling gave the order that Han, apart from the Emperor, Han Yi, Han Yao, and below the three of them, countless experts and geniuses were trying to break through. Although the current Creation Emperor Court had not expanded, its foundation had increased. Crazily, the various factions in the transcendent domain were terrified. An unprecedented colossus was rising. Han Huang vanished without a trace after betraying the Creation Emperor Court. 10 million years later, Han Huang married Goddess Mingji. Goddess Mingji's father represented his faction and announced that Han Huang would be the leader. For a time, the entire chaos was in an uproar. Han Huang, who had disappeared for a long time, had transformed into the master of an overlord faction. This faction was renamed the Primordial Chaos. The Primordial Chaos covered dozens of. The situation in the chaos began to change after Han Huang established his faction. The Primordial Chaos had already appeared. The great Tao immeasurable calamity was not far away. All the mighty figures knew that Han Huang would stir up the great Tao immeasurable calamity, but they did not know when it would happen. They didn't dare to take the initiative to provoke him. 10 million years passed in the blink of an eye. Hanju had been in seclusion for 50 million years, and he had reached 370 million years of age. He was trying to break through to the Creator Lord realm. Hanju looked forward to this realm after reaching the perfected Tao Creator realm. However, although his cultivation level was still increasing, he needed help finding the opportunity to break through. He felt that he was missing something. Hanju opened his eyes and started to think. What was lacking? The ninth chaos wanted to rely on the endless. Was for the chaos to shatter and break through to the blank domain. Could it be that he had to do the same? One Creator Lord then? No. He didn't have to start the endless era. That was only the ninth chaos guess. Hanju's ultimate origin world was far from the limit. It seemed that the hope of breaking through still rested on it. Hanju immediately left a clone and jumped into the ultimate origin world. Although there was no Tao field in the ultimate origin world, he was not afraid of attacks. Now, only the ninth chaos was a threat to him, and it could not kill him. Hanju opened a palace that all living beings couldn't see at the peak of the ultimate origin world, above the 8 supreme rules. His main body sat in the palace and looked down at the chaos. The ninth supreme rule was being nurtured and could be born anytime. Hanju was looking forward to this. The 8th supreme rule allowed the ultimate origin world to obtain the ability to devour other great Tao worlds. What would the 9th supreme rule be? Hanju waited patiently as he cultivated. Millions of years later, the 9th supreme rule was finally born. Hanju sensed carefully. This rule was actually similar to breaking the rules. The ultimate origin world would keep destroying the blank domain, causing itself to expand infinitely. Wasn't that the endless era? Excited, Hanju immediately mobilized the ultimate origin world's power. As expected, the ultimate origin world's power could shatter the blank domain and increase his space. Space could expand infinitely. However, the Great Tao world could no longer expand because of the blank domain's restriction. Hanju wouldn't need the Great Tao immeasurable calamity if the ultimate origin world expanded infinitely because of this. The Great Tao world is the current. He could sense that the Great Tao immeasurable calamity's aura was approaching the chaos. It turned out that the Great Tao immeasurable calamity could not be stirred up just because he wanted to. Supreme karma would descend and drive all living beings to fight. Although the chaos had experienced several calamities, there was no supreme karma of the Great Tao immeasurable calamity, so the endless era had never arrived. Calamity. After knowing that his Tao attainment path was safe, Hanju left a clone in the palace and his main body returned to the third Taoist temple. Shawnee didn't sense that he had left. The alternation between the clone and the main body was extremely fast. Even a perfected Great Tao Supreme like Shawnee couldn't sense it. Hanju had 25 creation heavens chosen attempts now. He hesitated to use them. He gave up after thinking about it. He would use it when the endless era arrived. At that time, dozens of creation heavens chosen would gather together and be nurtured by him. Then, he would let them out to make a name for themselves. It would be simply awesome. If such words spread, how impressive would that be? Hanju thought silently and looked forward to it. Of course, it was just a thought. He would find it annoying if that really happened. Hanju wouldn't deliberately suppress the juniors in the future, but it was best for the majority of his own people to be in the ranks of Tao creators. He could never lose his vigilance. This was how the ninth chaos was. Counterattacked. Hanju began to check his emails to see how his friends had been all these years. Your son Han Huang created the primordial demon soldier. His providence has declined. Your good friend Shi Tian's immeasurable destruction venerable was attacked by your good friend ninth chaos. Your good friend evil heavenly emperor has received guidance from your good friend formless transcendent deity. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Huang Zuntian's soul has transformed into a primordial soul. His providence has transformed. Your disciple Jiang Juesher has entered chaotic reincarnation. Your son Han Huang was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your descendant Han Yu was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. Your disciple Su Qi spread bad luck and was expelled by Shi Tian's rules. Primordial demon soldier? What a show! He probably wanted to nurture a force and stir up the entire chaos. Hanju was a little disdainful. He continued reading. He frowned at Su Qi's encounter. Shi Tian's rules could still expel people. It was clearly Shi Tian's immeasurable destruction venerable's intention. However, he didn't dare to fall out with Hanju, so he didn't kill him. In that case, Hanju couldn't be bothered. It was good that Su Qi was wandering around. It could pave the way for Han Huang. The more chaotic the chaos was, the more dangerous the great Tao immeasurable calamity would be. The chances of Han Huang surviving also increased. Su Qi was equivalent to Han Huang's helper. Hanju suddenly had an idea. Should he tell the other disciples to help Han Huang and share the great Tao immeasurable calamity's creation? Many sides were fighting Han Huang. It was very difficult to obtain a great creation, but it was different. Hanju thought for a moment and felt that it was troublesome. He would let nature take its course. After reading the emails, Hanju stood up and walked out of the Taoist temple to visit his Tao companions. He spent thousands of years visiting them one by one. Hanju left Xing Hongshuan's Taoist temple for mentioned Han Huang. He betrayed the creation emperor court and even took in that demonist force. Will he take the wrong path? Hanju didn't hide anything and told her Han Huang's difficulties and goals. Xing Hongshan was shocked and nervous upon hearing that Han Huang was about to destroy the chaos. Husband, this is the path to death. Xing Hongshan grabbed his hand and pitifully pleaded with him. She knew that only Hanju could convince her. Son. Hanju smiled and said, I support him. He then explained the perspective of the chaos and the endless era. Han Huang seemed to be doing evil, but he was actually doing an unprecedented great creation. Those transcendent existences above the chaos attack him? Won't that cause trouble for you? Xing Hongshan frowned. Hanju smiled. I'm only telling you. Don't tell the others. The existence who created the chaos is no longer my match, and there are only a few Tao creators above the great Tao. None of them is my match. This was the first time Hanju forcefully postured, but it was not awkward. What he said was the truth. Xing Hongshan widened her beautiful eyes and asked, You're already invincible? That's right. Isn't there always someone stronger? Are you sure there are no realms above the Tao creator? Realm? No. The Tao creator realm has been the limit ever since the primordial chaos was born. There's no stronger. Wah! Xing Hongshan was moved. Her body trembled. In shock, She had always felt that Hanju's talent was unparalleled and she had always believed in him. But what did invincibility mean? She couldn't even imagine it. Can you create living beings now? Aren't the disciples outside the Tao field? What about destroying the chaos? Is everything just a thought for you? You're undying and indestructible? I have already transformed into countless Will Dharma idols that are eternal. Then, can you increase our cultivation level? Yes, but just Great Tao Supreme Realm at the most. You must rely on yourself if you want to break through to the Tao Creator Realm. Therefore, it's best to stabilize your Tao hard first. Do you have a Great Tao world? Of course. Xing Hongshen kept asking questions. Hanju replied patiently, feeling extremely refreshed. His wife was the best. She understood his needs. Ask with all your might. It was also very satisfying to show off. After a long time, Xing Hongshan excitedly pulled Hanju along to Cultivate. Hanju only returned to his Taoist temple after thousands of years. Next was to wait for the Great Tao immeasurable calamity to arrive. Han Huang created the primordial demon soldiers. As the number of primordial demon soldiers increased, the spies of the various factions lurking in the primordial chaos faction also discovered this matter. The various factions were alarmed and began accumulating their strength and even beginning to rope them in. As the strongest force in the chaos, the news reached their ears at the Great Tao Divine Spirit level. The ultimate god of punishment was also alarmed and did not dare to act anymore. He gathered the Great Tao Divine Spirits together. Han Huang wants to destroy the chaos and create the primordial chaos. This is the calamity. The Great Tao immeasurable calamity's karma has arrived. We should be able to sense it. Perhaps he's wrapped in this karma. So what? We have to stop it. We'll die too if the chaos is gone. You have to know that other than the Great Tao Supremes, even Great Tao Sages can't survive in the blank domain. I have to suppress the primordial chaos. The Great Tao Divine Spirits discussed. Even Han Tua, Tao Sovereign, Murongqi, and the other Great Tao Divine Spirits of the hidden sect were moved. Was Han Huang crazy? Yi Tian grinned. As expected of your second brother. He defeated all the living beings in the chaos and still wants to do something greater. However, his smile was a little cold. The chaos also involved his personal benefits. The ultimate god of punishment said, Han Huang has already grown up. What should we do even if we want to suppress him? He could no longer protect Han Huang. This fellow's ambitions were too obvious. He even had no intention of hiding it. Even those at the Freedom Realm were spreading this matter. Laozi said, the chaos alone won't do. We better join forces with the other Great Tao World domains. Han Huang was undoubtedly powerful, just like the Divine Might Heavenly Sage back then. However, he was stronger and more dangerous than the Divine Might Heavenly Sage. Laozi's suggestion met the Great Tao Divine Spirits agreement. The living beings of the chaos were no longer Han Huang's match. They had to join forces with the other Great Tao World domains to have a chance of winning. The ultimate god of punishment sighed in his heart. Under the excitement of the crowd, he had no choice but to start giving orders to let the Great Tao Divine Spirits rope him in separately. The gods left after everything was said. The ultimate god of punishment returned to his space and sent a dream to Hanju. He rarely visited in his dreams, so Hanju accepted it. In the dream, the ultimate god of punishment quickly explained Han Huang's situation. This matter threatens the entire chaos. I have no choice but to take advantage of the situation, the ultimate god of punishment said uneasily, not knowing Hanju's attitude towards Han Huang. Hanju said, "It's fine. Just let nature take its course. Perform your duty as the leader of the divine spirits. If you have to do it, you can also do it." Then Han Huang, "This is his fate. I understand." The ultimate god of punishment's eyes flickered as he instantly thought of many possibilities. However, he could only think and did not dare to ask. The dream ended. Hanju didn't care and continued cultivating. Now, he only had eyes for the Creator Lord realm. The ultimate origin world kept destroying the blank domain and expanding. The ultimate origin chi in the world also increased. More and more living beings of the other great Tao worlds discovered the ultimate origin world through the netherworld. There were even situations where other living beings accepted the ultimate origin chi and transformed into ultimate origin life forms. Hanju only turned a blind eye to this and handed the matter to the ultimate origin fiend celestials, the ultimate origin soul race, and the nether race. Currently, these three forces already dominated the ultimate origin world and divided it into regions. The ultimate origin world's order had already been established. The life fiend celestial and Hanyu established the netherworld's order together. When the living beings of the other great Tao world entered the ultimate origin world, they would be captured by the ultimate origin netherworld and suppressed for a period of time before being released. Everything about Hanju was developing in a good direction. His seclusion no longer had a period. He began to enter endless seclusion. More than 20 million years pass in the blink of an eye. Hanju was now 400 million years old. Detected that you are 400 million years old and your life has taken another step forward. You have the following choices. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and devour the other great Tao worlds. You can obtain a great Tao fragment, a primordial fragment, a creation spirit stone, and a chance to upgrade the system function. 2. Cultivate in a low-profile manner and maintain your original intention. You can obtain a great Tao fragment, a primordial fragment, a creation spirit stone, and a chance to upgrade the system function. You have obtained a creation heaven's chosen attempt. The choices were the same. Hanju silently chose the second option. You chose to cultivate in a low-profile manner and obtained a great Tao fragment, a primordial fragment, a creation spirit stone, and a chance to upgrade the system function. Hanju directly chose the system function. You chose to upgrade the Myriad Worlds projection. Myriad Worlds projection has begun to upgrade. Next was to wait. The Myriad Worlds projection did not affect him much, but it was an important reason why the hidden sect could still rally together. Under different circumstances, no matter where they were, the personal disciples could always meet through the Myriad Worlds projection. Their relationship had always been maintained. Even if there were conflicts, the other disciples could mediate in the Myriad Worlds projection. Hanju continued cultivating after making his choice. The chaos had been in a nervous state for the past 20 million years. The primordial chaos and the chaos had already erupted with no less than 10,000 wars. Han Huang's strength attracted countless followers who were potential was a natural chasm that most cultivators could not cross. Cultivators of any cultivation level would have such questions. The legend of the primordial pool made all living beings suspicious, but as someone succeeded, suspicion became madness. This matter gave the great Tao divine spirits a big headache. Han Huang had never appeared. The various factions did not dare to take the lead, afraid. Shouted at Han Huang, quietened down. Zhao Shuangchuan seemed to be possessed and was still spreading the legend of the Dark Forbidden Lord, as if he did not know that Han Huang wanted to destroy the chaos. In short, All living beings in the chaos felt that the great Tao immeasurable calamity was about to arrive. Primordial chaos. The domain void was filled with vast purple chi, as if it was really primordial chaos. In a dark hall, Han Huang was meditating. Dermic powers overflowed from his palms and constantly condensed into primordial demon soldiers. These primordial demon soldiers were like a dark version of the divine authority generals. After successfully condensing, these primordial demon soldiers retreated into the darkness beside him and disappeared without a trace. A figure flew in. It was Goddess Mingji. She appeared in front of Han Huang and said, her eyes filled with love, "Husband, you've been in seclusion for so long. You should rest." Han Huang ignored her. Goddess Mingji continued, "I know that you want to do something big, but we don't have children yet. The primordial chaos doesn't have any inheritors. This isn't good." Han Huang suddenly stood up. His terrifying aura frightened Goddess Mingji away. She was so frightened that her face turned pale, and she looked at him in panic. Han Huang looked down at her and snorted. "It's already your greatest honor that I married you. You still want to be pregnant with my child? Are you worthy?" Goddess Mingji felt extremely wronged and clenched her fists in her sleeves. "I'm not humiliating you. This is the truth. How many times have you been pregnant? Don't you know? A mortal like you can't withstand the power of the primordial fiend celestial. Give up early," Han Huang said disdainfully. His blood-red eyes looked filled with hostility and killing intent. Goddess Mingji gritted her teeth and said, "Then, do you plan to never have descendants? I can use my own strength to create children when I create the primordial chaos. I don't need you. Don't disturb me in the future. I'll give you another piece of advice. Retreat as soon as possible and don't try to control the situation. When the great Tao immeasurable calamity begins, you will be consigned to eternal damnation. It's not worth it." With that, Han Huang sat down again and closed his eyes to create more primordial demon soldiers. Goddess Mingji curled her lips and thought to herself, "You clearly care about me, but you're always so fierce." She felt less aggrieved when she thought of Han Huang's bad temper from the beginning. Although this fellow was fierce, he would always protect her when she was in danger. This meant that he still had her in his heart. Who else could be the wife of the primordial fiend celestial other than her? Goddess Mingji's mood became wonderful again. She snorted softly and left. Han Huang opened his eyes and watched her leave, his eyes filled with coldness. It's not time yet. The supreme karma of this great Tao immeasurable calamity is too slow. I can't wait anymore. Han Huang thought silently and began to think about how to push for the calamity. He suddenly thought of someone and smiled. His smile looked extremely evil and sinister in the dark hall. In the dark void, bones and meteors were mixed together and covered this lifeless space. A bright sun shone at the end of the void, the only source of light. A dilapidated palace floated quietly. The stone statues in front of the hall were also very dilapidated. Some had lost their heads, and some had no arms. They looked strange and sinister. Su Qi was in the hall, meditating quietly. The aura of misfortune surrounded his body. His expression changed as if black worms were crawling on his face. Su Qi suddenly felt something and opened his eyes as a figure appeared in front of him. It was Han Huang. Han Huang cupped his fists and bowed to him. He smiled and said, "Senior Su, long time no see." Su Qi smiled. "Junior Huang, why are you here?" He waved his right hand, and a mat appeared in front of him. Han Huang sat down. The fellow disciples began to exchange pleasantries. They were not distant. They had met before, let alone the fact that they were fellow disciples. After chatting for a while, Suchi asked, "Why is Junior Huang looking for me?" Han Huang smiled. "I'm prepared to destroy the chaos and create the primordial chaos. Once I succeed, there will be no more restrictions. You can also create your own great Tao world. Are you willing to help me?" He went straight to the point and stared at him, waiting for his answer. Suchi was silent. This was very important, so he naturally had to think about it. Suchi suddenly smiled. "All right. Actually, I have the same intention." Han Huang smiled even more. The two of them did not need to say anything as they looked at each other. Suchi said, "Go back and prepare. I'll find other fellow disciples on the eve of the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Just you and I are still far from enough to shake the chaos." Han Huang shrugged and left as a beam of light. Suchi's gaze darkened as he thought, "Master, is this the true mission you gave me? Helping the primordial fiend celestial is quite interesting. Helping one's own people is better than being used by others." A river filled with 7-colored light flowed. In a dazzling space. There was no direction and no living beings here. There was only this endless river that came from nowhere. River of Destiny. This was the River of Destiny, the core of the chaos. It covered space, time, karma, and other rules. It also controlled the roots of the River of Destiny of the myriad worlds. A figure suddenly stepped out from the depths of the river. He wore a white robe and a huge silver bird floated behind him, like a phoenix. This person was Ji Xianshen. Ji Xianshen's expression was cold. He suddenly stopped and looked back when he... Destiny. The River of Destiny was far-reaching and eternal. "I'll do what you need to do, but you can't interfere in my matters," Ji Xianshen said. Calmly. A sneer sounded, "You're indeed strong enough now. What do you want to do?" Ji Xianshen said, "The great Tao immeasurable calamity will be led by my junior Huang. This is the greatest variable in the chaos. I naturally have to help him." The mysterious voice snorted. "He will die. He would have died without me, but it's different now. Up to you. You can do something for me if you push for the great Tao immeasurable calamity." Ji Xianshen turned around and left. He vanished from the River of Destiny in the blink of an eye. The River of Destiny fell silent again. 10 million years later, Hanju obtained another creation heavens. Chosen. He opened his eyes and frowned. Suchi seemed to have gone mad. He ran rampant in the chaotic void and unleashed his bad luck to the extreme. Even a primordial meeting. Currently, Suchi was not the only disciple who was prepared to help Han Huang. There were also Ji Xianshen, Dao Sovereign, Zhao Shenyuan, Jiang Yi, Long Hao, Murongqi, and Fang Liang. The primordial chaos was powerful. These brats. In that case, I have to speed up. Hanju snorted in his heart. He prepared to increase the expansion speed of the ultimate origin world. Previously, he was only afraid of attracting suspicion, but now, he didn't care. The purity Great Tao world no longer approached the chaos ever since the yin-yang purity nirvana deity became an ultimate origin life form. Instead, it rushed towards the ultimate origin world. This could be used by Hanju. The ultimate origin world also stopped and did not rush towards the chaos. The chaos could no longer devour the ultimate origin world. The chaos might fly towards it instead when it became stronger. Hanju said, "From now on, you can curse as much as you want. The target of the curse is Han Huang's enemies." Shawnee opened his eyes and looked happy. The curse origin star did not involve karma. The current Shawnee had already grown to the perfected Great Tao Supreme Realm. Even a Tao creator could not deduce him. After all, he did not show karma in the chaos. It was time to use him after he nurtured him for 100 million years. Don't worry, progenitor. I won't disappoint you, Shawnee said excitedly. Only Hanju knew his ability. Even the 9 divine stars didn't know. Hanju ignored him. As long as the Tao creator did not attack, no one could kill Han Huang. In the past few years, the Myriad Worlds projection had also been successfully upgraded and there was a new teleportation function. The disciples could teleport to the other disciples through the Myriad Worlds projection, provided that they had already joined. Hanju looked at the chaos. Ji Xianshen, Tao Sovereign, and the others were leading the primordial demon soldiers to destroy the chaotic world and domains everywhere. They did not slaughter all living beings, but everything was destroyed everywhere they passed. Han Huang was not the only one who wanted to destroy the chaos. There was also the hidden sect. The sect master of the hidden sect was the Divine Might Heavenly Sage. This made the various factions even more uneasy. However, the primordial chaos actions became greater and greater. The chaos had no choice but to counterattack, including the 9 extremes orthodoxy. Yu Yuan, who had already grown up, fought Ji Xianshen with the power of the first chaos. What amused Hanju was that Yu Yuan actually couldn't defeat Ji Xianshen. It seemed that he had overestimated the first 8 chaotic powers. That made sense. Before those guys died, the strongest was only at the Great Tao Supreme Realm. At their peak, their strength might not be as strong as the current Great Tao Supreme expert. Furthermore, Ji Xianshen was already at the perfected Great Tao Supreme Realm, had the power of fate. And Hanju discovered that there was a deeply hidden karma in Ji Xianshen's body. The cultivation of the main body of this karma was only a Great Tao Supreme, but this karma, a future Tao creator, that person was now a Great Tao Supreme and would be a Tao creator in the future. Hanju found it strange. After reaching the cultivation level of the Tao creator, one had already jumped out of the past and future. Even if there were supreme treasures that could involve the past of other Tao creators, they would be discovered by the Tao creator. Therefore, the Tao creator usually wouldn't involve space and time. That would only offend the other Tao creators. Hanju could see it even without the derivation function. The other Tao creators could probably see it too. However, this future Tao creator had a special identity. The other Tao creators probably did not dare to touch him easily. Hanju laughed secretly. You dared to interfere with the past with your early stage cultivation. Kid, you've underestimated the strength of the Tao creators of this period. You're even inferior to the chaotic consciousness. Hanju couldn't be bothered by that future Tao creator. It was a good opportunity to let this fellow stimulate the great Tao. Immeasurable calamity. If he forced the other Tao creators to attack, it would also be a lesson for this fellow to not underestimate them. It was very difficult to judge a Tao creator's strength unless they fought. After all, the Tao creator would not die and was at the highest realm. Under such circumstances, anyone among them, Li Yao had even been to the primordial chaos and seemed to want to participate in the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Whatever. Save 1 or 100. In any case, Hanju had already gathered their soul fragments. They could revive. Hanju watched for a while and then focused on cultivating. The situation in the chaos became more and more intense. Supreme karma was enveloping all living beings, causing their hostility to increase. The higher their cultivation level, the greater the impact. Any conflict could be magnified under the supreme karma's influence. The great Tao immeasurable calamity was about to erupt. In the primordial pool, figures stood by and watched as countless cultivators lined up opposite the pool. Cultivators jumped into the primordial pool one after another, less than 10 breaths of time apart. Ji Xianshan sighed. Even I want to jump down. The chaotic heavenly dog chuckled. Jump. I think your potential is quite ordinary. Ji Xianshan glared at it. Zhao Xianyuan asked curiously, why isn't Master Chicken here? It's rare for the hidden sect to act together against everyone. After chatting with the Black Hell Chicken for a while, Jiang asked, where's Han Huang? When will he take action? Currently, there are already 1 trillion demon soldiers and more than 100 million primordial cultivators. He'll definitely be able to overturn the chaos with the hidden sects. Support. Fang Yang raised his hand. There seemed to be a wisp of green smoke in his hand, and he seemed to be playing with it. He chuckled and said, the calamity has yet to arrive. You should be able to sense that karma power. Although it's here, it's not powerful enough. At least, it's not enough to make us go mad. Everyone nodded in agreement. It was indeed not enough. At this moment, the primordial pool surged violently, startling the cultivators who were about to jump down. The primordial pool was very big, even larger than the entire immortal world. After the surface of the pool churned, it was extremely dangerous and terrifying. Everyone looked over and saw a terrifying giant shadow faintly discernible at the bottom. What's that? Ji Xianshan asked. Longhao said excitedly, it's primordial despair. Han Huang told me before that other. Then transforming primordial life forms, the primordial pools also nurturing a killing weapon. Primordial despair? Stronger. The cultivators who had witnessed primordial despair were so frightened that they didn't dare to jump down anymore. What's that? Did all the cultivators who jumped down feed this thing? Alive! What a terrifying killing intent. Even an ancient ferocious beast is far inferior. This ferocious beast can definitely harm the chaos. Already prepared to be enemies with the chaos, so they were very excited after calming down. The stronger the primordial chaos was, the more it proved that their choice was correct. Most cultivators came with the philosophy of promoting the endless era. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for the primordial chaos to have its current power. Although the living beings of the chaos knew about the endless era, they did not want to die. In addition, the endless era did not necessarily have to sacrifice the chaos. The personal disciples of the hidden sect sighed at the primordial despair's birth. Although Han Huang was arrogant, he did not act recklessly. Instead, he was frantically accumulating strength. Just this primordial despair was enough to make all the living beings in the chaos shiver. Time passed. The cultivators continued to jump down after the primordial despair calmed down. They were pleasantly surprised to discover that the primordial despair was only hiding at the bottom of the primordial pool and did not hurt them. They were even more relieved. Hanju was immersed in cultivation and couldn't extricate himself. When the chaos was about to encounter the great Tao immeasurable calamity, the ultimate origin world also stirred up the ultimate origin immeasurable calamity and swept through the entire great Tao world. It looked like the ultimate origin world was in chaos, but to the three supreme factions, it was still under control. The chaotic battle of all living beings would. Not only did the calamity reshuffle the various levels of the ultimate origin world, but it also constantly found the right path in the chaos. It used Providence to nurture the rules and used the rules to help create creation. Because of this, the ultimate origin world kept flying. After a certain period of time, a roar woke Hanju up. I am the primordial fiend celestial, Han Huang. From today onwards, I will announce to the chaos, transcendent, consciousnessless, and sure Tian that the great Tao immeasurable calamity has arrived. I will use the conquest spear to destroy the chaos and create an endless era. You can also make your last futile struggle for the meaning of your existence. Primordial chaos, listen up. With the primordial chaos as the center, we will fight in the chaos. If we encounter life, we will kill. If we encounter souls, we will slaughter them all. We swear to die. Han Huang's voice resounded throughout the chaos, echoing for a long time. Even Hanju's Dao field echoed with his voice. How strange. This kid's primordial world was not strong, and it was even chaotic, but his strength was increasing. Could this be the supreme karma of the great Tao immeasurable calamity? Interesting. Hanju checked his attributes panel. He was already 430 million years old, which meant that he had been in seclusion for more than 20 million years. He started checking his emails. Shawnee said excitedly after seeing that he opened his eyes, progenitor, ancestor Han Huang is too domineering. Even I want to fight for him. So far, few enemies dare to attack ancestor Han Huang. I can't even find a target to curse. Hanju ignored him. By the way, ancestor Han Ling also wants to deal with him. Do I need to curse her? Hanju glanced at him. Shawnee shivered in fear and smiled awkwardly. I understand. What nonsense. How can you curse my precious daughter? Hanju didn't say anything and continued to check his emails. Shawnee didn't dare to disturb him anymore. He continued to look at the chaos and trembled in excitement. With Han Huang's declaration of war, the great Tao immeasurable calamity officially arrived. The great Tao supremes of both sides were the first to collide in the space above the 3,000 great Tao. Ji Xianshen, Tao Sovereign, and the others all participated. Nearly 100 great Tao supremes fought chaotically, causing the 3,000 great Tao to tremble.